take a little pause for that sound. You guys are live.
Yeah, so thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Can I ask you to start us off with a poem?
Yeah, for sure, man. Got a couple poems, keep in my folder here. A lot of different poems that I've been writing, especially over the past month and a half. Just going through different writing styles, experimenting. I'm trying to think right now on the fly.
Whatever's calling to you.
Actually, you can do this one here. It's called N.
N? Like the letter
Yes.
N? That's what
Yes, like the letter N. This is one I did early spring last year. Start off. N. You piss, shit, and stomp all over Martin's grave. Then kiss, spit, and mock the pardon of my fate. Do I wash and rinse my identity, or refuse to escape and succumb to my injuries? The Allies' fuckery overlooks a cesspool of pandering. You vandalize our foundations, which you deem the word dismantling. You define me with predetermined stereotypes to excuse your nasty behavior, blindsided by the fact that your legacy is a failed white savior. Every 4 Novembers, I ask myself the same question. Why do you dumb down my worth to faulty messages? The lesser of the two evils remains a higher ranked compromise. Like an assisted homicide, we've mutually agreed to partake in my demise. All that remains is proud rapists standing beside their political slaves, quenching their thirst with strange fruit concentrate. All that remains is loud sadists justifying their crimes against humanity, feasting and savoring the carcasses of black bodies. This country is a shit show. So why do we keep adding to the flame? Well, then again, I remember, we all love to be entertained. However, I am not here for that specific reason, nor am I here to stand tall and pledge allegiance, nor am I here to be your puppet, coon, minority, sellout, coward, token, or your pick-me. I am not here to adhere to your fragility, nor am I here to provide a cleanse to my adversities. I am neither here to be your default killer, and best believe for sure, you're a fucking nigger.
Wow. And
yes.
Thank you so much, Sayquan. Wash and rinse identity, tasting and savoring carcass of black bodies. We all love to be entertained. There's some bars in there. And just listening to the poem, it has a beautiful rhythm. It kind of flows downwards. And then juxtaposing it with the topic, I just want to know, do you consider yourself a political writer?
No, I wouldn't. I would say, for me, I just like to experiment with different sounds, different topics and themes, and see where it takes me. I'm more so of a writer that likes to put my pen onto the paper and then figure out meaning later.
Yeah.
So if what comes from that is a political message that resonates with a lot of people, or let's say one might say it addresses black exploitation in America so very well, then that's something that I can just smile at, knowing that I go through the process, just putting it on the paper and seeing how there's many different meanings come from it, all from different interpretations of it. And as well as the political side, no, but I'm not scared to dive into it. If I want to address something and it is deemed political in a sense, then so be it. But I wouldn't let it define me to being a political writer, but I never shy away from it.
No, I love that. and I mean, it's essential for writers to use their voice, to first recognize that they have a voice, recognize their voice is important, then use that voice either for themselves, because themselves are important, or for a cause they believe in. And I think that's ultimately very beautiful. why poetry? Like, why are you writing poetry? There's so many other things you could be writing. Why poetry? Like, what infected you? Just curious.
Well, that's a great question. I think a lot of things infected me. I would say so. One being my mother.
Moms.
She wrote poetry, specifically love poems, when she was a student at Medgar Evers College back in the 90s. And even in general, she loved to write. She worked as the parent coordinator in the DOE for a couple of years, and so she was surrounded by kids and was always writing about her time, helping kids out, and especially specialized kids, and just having the knack of just expressing myself. Like, I get it from her. I would say she's more so the opposite of me. Like, she is very outspoken. Like, she will speak to anybody. Like, anytime I used to walk with her, we do our mother-son walks when she used to live in East Flatbush with me. We would always come across a couple of people like, hello, Regina, that's her name.
Yeah.
And then I would hear at least a good 5, 6 of those every time we would go somewhere together. And I'm like, man, you're like famous here in the neighborhood, like all these kids. And so just getting that influence from her, and just knowing that for me, the best way to express myself is through writing. So yeah, my mom really made sure that she laid that foundation into helping me decide that writing, and specifically poetry, work out for me, because it allows me to put forward the human experience and finding positive ways to cope with certain hardships. And I'll say another thing too is just the environment, my environment. Brooklyn, that's my home, that's my baby. I lived there my entire life, and I always wanted a way to express certain things that I've gone through, both positive and negative things surrounding by nostalgia, and some experiences that were shaped by certain cultures or events that happened. And I know for me, it didn't really work well when it came to short stories, even though I like to write them. But I feel like as far as poetry, I like to put together a sound that can incorporate my experiences within the neighborhoods and bring up references that only certain people would understand because they went through it or was in that time period to experience it. And so I feel like for poetry, it was a way for me to basically work as if it was like a puzzle.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
putting things together.
Yeah, putting things together. Like, this was my experience being in public school in New York City. Oh, I remember when I used to see the icy lady coming in with, the stuff for everybody, or it might be any type of memory or any type of experience, and putting it together in poetry and kind of telling a story that way. Maybe it's even mixing the order of poems or experiences, and it tells a different story. So I like to shape it that way, and that was one thing that really helped infected me for poetry.
Yeah, I'm based on what you're saying, I'm thinking poetry as community, collection of poems, collection of poems as a collection of words as individual communities, words as a collection of a community in themselves, poems as communities. That's kind of what I'm bouncing off right now based on what you're saying. Talked about putting poems together like a puzzle piece, and I'm also thinking about the idea of like disassembling the puzzle. You're taking stuff you're taking the words or whatever apart, experience apart, to make it make more sense in a sort of way, kind of decoding language through poems, which is also a beautiful thing. And you use the word sound. Is there like a musical, like, what do you mean by sound? Like a musical aspects that feeds into your poetry in a way?
Yeah, for me, the sound really goes through different experiences, whether if it's rhyme, if it's off like structure that's disjointed to what's being described. I don't know. Like I feel like for poetry, it helps me realize my voice. I wasn't like growing up, I wasn't the most vocal child. I was very independent, and I think that's in part of me. At the time, they referred to it as Asperger's syndrome, but I guess now they would classify it as a form of autism or neurodivergent. And so, growing up as an independent child, I wasn't able to.
You were an only child, or you mean independent?
Oh, when I mean like independent, I mean so like I didn't like to be around people and stuff.
It.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm an only child, so I'm like independent.
I was like secluded from like a bunch of people, like especially in social spaces. Like let's say around the playground, a lot of kids, socializing with each other, playing around. I'm off in the corner, like it was just me and my attitude. And so, growing up, the best way for me to communicate was through writing. I like to have people try and understand me through that and try and decode me, and so that they can be able to build a authentic relationship with me. Yeah. And so with the sound, like I'm so obsessed with it because I'm a big fan of music, like hip hop and jazz and soul. Like putting that onto paper. We always talk about like, oh, these artists are like poets and stuff, and but they also allow for us to be influenced. I wouldn't say I'm not a rapper by any chance or any means, but I like
whatever you want to be.
But I like to, put together rhymes. I like to put together imagery, great description, experiences, and working with sound in that way. When I hear like a word fits within this verse, or maybe there's a certain scheme that makes sense in regards to the poem or the topic at hand. I just like to play around with it and see where it takes me. And sometimes that might result in, for example, this poem N being a political piece. Or maybe it might be a piece that is very surreal, or maybe it just exists just to exist, So the sound allows me to find different meanings for different poems and just bring it into the world for people to experience.
Just a curious question.
Yes.
How do you feel about terms like political piece?
Interesting.
Yeah, because I have some stigma around it. I'm like, it kind of tickles my brain in this idea of like, am I a writer or am I a black writer? Am I a writer or am I a political writer or am I a romance writer? Do you feel like those type of things are putting you in a box?
I would say for me, no. Because although I write stuff that goes into different genres. I have poems that speak about identity, poems that speak about politics, poems that speak about love, body dysmorphia. My environment, my love for my home, nature. So I try, like you said, not to fit myself in one box and just write whatever comes to my mind. If it dives, like you said, if it dives into a category, like let's say for this example, political commentary, but I don't think it should be the end all be all. It can even land into another category, let's say social criticism. That's the way I see it, because for me, I just like to experiment and explore and not just let one label try and define like what it is that I do. Because I just like to just be all around, like even as far as like creating, like it's not just on the paper. It might be the attire, it might be photography, it might be the type of people I surround myself with, the other creatives that I'm around. And so it's not just stuck in like one box, because I feel like I have the confidence and I have the ability to write about anything and be branched into different avenues rather than just being in one and saying, hey, you write about this one topic and you have to stick to that. No, we are free to explore everything that comes to our mind, because this is our mind. This is we have ownership of our mind and our creativity. And so for to have someone else put their stamp on your mind and what it is that you want to bring into the world, we can never allow that.
That's amazing. And there's also this idea in the terms of like the artist landscape of niching down, in which like you should refine one single solitary thing, because if you become an expert at that one thing, that's the one thing you can sell continuously. And you know, there's this freedom that we might be losing. Use the word experimentation. I'm curious how experimentation leads to play. But I also, you said something very interesting also, and like you're like, I want to be an all-around person no matter what I'm doing. You're a photographer?
Not a photographer, but I have my friend Ralph. He goes to Brooklyn College, and he's majoring in film, but he also does photography.
Okay.
Most of the photos that I take, he actually helps me with. But within those photos, like I help like direct it. Like I'll discuss to him, hey, I want to go to this location to shoot a couple photos, or I'll look for reference photos, and I said I want to imitate something in the style of this.
Yeah.
And I do so like that way. And I like to do the photography as a way of just showing that I can put myself into new places of creativity. For the most part, like me, I don't like to do the whole like, hey, this is all expensive stuff I'm wearing and stuff and flexing. Like, I like photos that tell a story. And I like to go towards different visions that help incorporate myself within that story and other people as well. And like having someone like Ralph who knows so much about photography and is, you know, we're great friends, we know each other for a while. Like he's able to understand my personality, find different ways to illustrate myself on the camera, so that I can feel comfortable with not only putting myself out there or feeling good about how I portray myself, but also putting the artist in a different view, you know, not just, okay, this is what he's putting on the paper, but also how does he actually look like? You know, this is what is the day-to-day process? You know, so photography is just another way for me to show that.
And that's so necessary, where I think you're describing this kind of like lifetime of creative relationships. Like, what type of people are we connecting to that feed into us, that allow us to make art in ways we wouldn't be able to make art by ourselves? And I like how you describe the process of like this person being able to get into your head and help you direct kind of these ideas and make these non-poetic ideas a possibility. Does at some point in the process, does it stop being photography for you and just becomes an all-encompassing thing of poetry?
Yeah, I think it's, I agree. Like all-encompassing for poetry, because no matter what I do, it always goes back to the writing. And I take a lot of pride in that, knowing that it's something that kept me grounded for a long time. And like I said, that original connection, like when I connected with Ralph, or when I connected with all my other friends and family members and stuff, and I mean like deep connections, like of course we know these people, but I mean like deep, rich connections, it's because of the writing. You know, it's not just because, oh, you know, my family, you're my friend, you know, you got to keep showing them like, oh wait, this is what you can do, like this is your talent, this is your superpower, you know, that leads to conversation. And that's what I always put myself into. That's what I'm always happy about, is that most of the connections that I made and the people that I'm able to share spaces with or work on projects with, all those conversations came back to what I put on that paper or what I decided to show them. And then they start to show me what their talents are, and then we start to have great conversations about it. But it always goes back to the poetry, because they know that that was the first thing that allowed for us to grow together. And it's great seeing that as I get older, I'm only 24 now, that there's so many people around our age that are willing to open up and see other people's talents. You know, not everything has to be, hey, you give me something, I give you something, like financially. But, hey,
there's
like
so much transactional nature of things.
But like here's a poem that I'm working on, or here's this drawing, or like look at this like special talent I can do. You know, a lot of kids where I come from don't get to have that opportunity because they've been in an environment that has been ridiculed, you know, by poverty or by violence or by people that say that you're not good enough. what if they had people that showed you, hey, you actually have the skill and the talent, we want to see that some more. And so I feel like for me, it's good to bring that out of other people at this age, whether when I was in college or when I'm out in Brooklyn or in the city, and just saying like, hey, like, oh, this your talent? Oh, like, show me more of that. Like, I want to see that.
How do you cultivate that? Like, how do you make a person feel seen, feel noticed that what they're doing is worthwhile?
No small talk. Like, I actually want to get to know you and understand you.
Because it's a vulnerability sort of thing. Because it's just sharing the work, right? And you're hoping the people around you, whoever they are, like, won't clown you, right? You're hoping they will get what you're putting down earnestly. Like, you're hoping that people like read what your work is and be like, yes, I see you as an individual, as a human being, and I care about the experience you're sharing at this moment, because that wasn't easy.
Yeah.
What's your process looking like? How are we doing this?
Oh. First time I've ever been asked that. I don't think our professor Matthews even asked me that.
Like, how are these poems becoming? Like, how is a poem birthed?
A poem is birthed. That's a good question. Well, for one of the ways a poem is birthed is from, of course, reading other poets. Both the poets that come from the past and the poets of the present, or even the poets that we share classrooms with, that we share the same neighborhoods with, that we bump into on the streets, at the coffee shops, at the bars, everywhere, on the train, the buses. I know for me, it was mainly it was mainly this poet here, Jayne Cortez, the late Jayne Cortez, rest in peace.
What's that called?
So it's called On the Imperial Highway, New and Selected Poems. This is a collection of poems by Jayne Cortez up until, I believe, 2009.
Okay.
And there's just so many different pieces in here.
Is there a poem in there that I can get you to read? What is the poem? What is the poem?
That's going to be hard.
The life-changing poem. I always say first choice, best choice, like whatever poem was immediately enter your brain.
There's like two poems.
You can read both.
Okay.
Whatever you want to read.
So there's two poems. The first one is called If the Drum is a Woman. If the Drum is a Woman.
Okay.
And the second one is called There It Is.
Okay.
So I'll read If the Drum is a Woman. If the drum is a woman. If the drum is a woman, why are you pounding your drum into an insane babble? Why are you pistol whipping your drum at dawn? Why are you shooting through the head of your drum and making a drum tragedy of drums? If the drum is a woman, don't abuse your drum. Don't abuse your drum. Don't abuse your drum. I know the night is full of displaced persons. I see skins striped with flames. I know the ugly dispositions of underpaid clerks. They constantly menstruate through the eyes. I know bitterness embedded in the flesh. The itching alone can drive you crazy. I know that this is America, and chickens are coming home to roost on the MX missile. But if the drum is a woman, why are you choking your drum? Why are you raping your drum? Why are you saying disrespectful things to your mother drum, your sister drum, your wife drum, and your infant daughter drum? If the drum is a woman, then understand your drum. Your drum is not docile. Your drum is not invisible. Your drum is not inferior to you. Your drum is a woman, so don't reject your drum. Don't try to dominate your drum. Don't become weak and cold and desert your drum. Don't be forced into the position as an oppressor of drum and make a drum tragedy of drums. If the drum is a woman, don't abuse your drum. Don't abuse your drum. Don't abuse your drum.
I don't know why, but I feel like a love poem. And, oh my gosh, that was beautiful. Experiencing a poem for the first time is wow. The second one? I must now own this collection.
There it is. Yes, there it is. On page 49. Okay. There it is. My friend, they don't care if you're an individualist, a leftist, a rightist, a shithead, or a snake. They will try to exploit you, absorb you, confine you, disconnect you, isolate you, or kill you. And you will disappear into your own rage. into your own insanity, into your own poverty, into a word, a phrase, a slogan, a cartoon, and then ashes. The ruling class will tell you that there is no ruling class, as they organize their liberal supporters into white supremacist lynch mobs, organize their children into Ku Klux Klan gangs, organize their police into killer cops, organize their propaganda into a device to ossify us with angel dust, preoccupy us with Western symbols and African hairstyles, inoculate us with hate, institutionalize us with ignorance, hypnotize us with monotonous sound designed to make us evade reality and stomp our lives away. And we are programmed to self-destruct, to fragment, to get buried under covert intelligence operation of unintelligent committees impulsed towards death. And there it is. The enemies polishing their penises between oil wells at the Pentagon, the bulldozers leaping into demolition dances, the old folks dying of starvation, the informers wearing out shoes looking for crumbs, the lifeblood of the earth almost dead in the greedy mouth of imperialism. And my friend, they don't care if you're an individualist, a leftist, a rightist, a shithead, or a snake. They will spray you with a virus of Legionnaire's disease.
Wow.
Fill your nostrils with the swine flu of their arrogance. Stuff
Wow.
your body into a tampon of toxic shock syndrome. Try to pump all the resources of the world into their own veins and fly off into the wild blue yonder to pollute another planet. And if we don't fight, if we don't resist, if we don't organize and unify and get the power to control our own lives, then we will wear the exaggerated look of captivity, the stylized look of submission, the bizarre look of suicide, the dehumanized look of fear, and the decomposed look of repression forever and never and never. And there it is.
Wow. Yeah. I feel like I just connected to the ancestors. Thank you so much for that. I'm gonna go ahead and buy that collection. That was definitely an experience. Wow. Queekbeak.
Yes.
What can you say on that?
Yes, Queekbeak is an independent literary magazine that I have started with my dear and lovely friend, Angela Regina Charay. We've known each other for the past 2.5 years. We were first partners in the Stuck in the Library, which was a literary magazine club at Brooklyn College.
Shout out our alma mater.
Yeah, shout out Brooklyn College. A beautiful campus, by the way. Stuck in the Library ended in the past spring. And so Angela and I were...
Sorry, ended forever? Or like it's on hiatus?
Honestly, I'm confident in saying that it's ended because nobody applied to join, and they did not give us any funding for the spring issue. There was supposed to be a spring issue to come out, but it couldn't.
The funding issue.
Yeah, they didn't give us money for it. So it kind of shows how, they cared about the creative arts at that point in time. But we also we were very sad and disheartened about STL ending. And so we decided, you know what, instead of being sad that it ended, let's start our own magazine, right? Like, we have the freedom to start a new movement, to bring together community, offer opportunities for people that need to get their voices out. There's a voice in everybody.
Yes.
Everybody has a creative voice, even if you don't even write. I know there's some creative voice somewhere. And we felt like it was our duty to start this and offer people the chance to really express their voices and just see how much collective talent we can get together. I mean, I know for me, of course, like knowing people like you and even Angela, who are talented writers, and many other talented writers from all 5 boroughs, and just offering that opportunity to submit pieces that I feel can really shift a new direction in creativity and art and lead a new movement of poets.
Are there any specific types of poems you guys are looking for? Or is this like, just send us everything?
So right now, the current the current poems that we're looking for is poems that are centered around your environments.
Okay.
That's up for interpretation, but for us, we specify it as the roots of your environment.
The roots?
The roots.
Okay.
The roots of your environment, your connection, what your environment is. You know, is it like literally where you live at? Is it your neighborhood? Is it your house? Maybe your environment might be a certain place that gives you comfort. Maybe it's a coffee shop. Maybe it's a library. I know for me, the library is is one of my environments that I love to visit and feel free in. So whatever that may be, it may even be about the things you love about your environment, the things that you dislike, some things that you wish you could change about your environment. But it's all up for interpretation. And we wanted to start off with a theme for the first issue because we wanted to give a little challenge.
Yeah, constraints.
Usually for constraint, yeah. Usually for most magazines, there is no theme. You know, it's more so just submit whatever you have. But we feel that, once again, everybody has a voice. We want to offer that challenge, like to give that constraint, because we feel that no matter who you are, you're talented. So I want to see what you can do with this theme, with this topic, and see what goes from there. And not even sometimes, most times, when you're given constraints, like I've seen a lot of great work come from a lot of people when they're under constraint or they're only given a certain amount of time to do something. And I think it's going to produce something very special.
Constraints definitely give an artist an opportunity to find creative workarounds, because it's a lot of what we're doing as artists, as writers, is problem solving. So when we have a self-imposed problem, you know, it kind of gets the creative juices flowing for us to be able to how do I, with minimal stakes, how do we work around this problem and create something that's amazing while being in this kind of borders. Can we write some stuff?
Yeah, but our notebook.
Brought our notebooks because we're motherfucking writers. The prompt. I have a prompt for today. Is that okay?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
It's just this line, and then you can write whatever you feel compelled from this line. We merely knew it wasn't human nature to love, only what returns love. We merely knew it wasn't human nature to love, only what returns love. We merely knew it wasn't human nature to love, only what returns love. 5 minutes, free write?
Yeah, I just want to go over it. We merely knew it wasn't human nature to love, only what returns love.
That's correct.
Okay. It's 5 minutes.
I'm gonna set a timer for 5 minutes.
Is there any length?
No, it's just a free write. You just keep on letting your fingers do its thing. When we're done, we share out, and that's the poem. It's a quick and dirty poem. That's what I'm calling it. Quick and dirty poems. And we're off. And we have arrived.
Complete.
So yeah, thank you so much for participating in these quick and dirty poems.
Of course.
I'll go first, and then you'll close us out. We merely knew it wasn't human nature to love, only what returns love. Like butterflies in the stomach, we tear apart the sack and sings ourselves into windy cities, hopeful Julys and ideas of summers. There is a soothing nature to the moment of love, when we know without doubt that the cold night can be made warm with memories of the future. If you dream hard enough, you can experience the future as a lullaby, sweeping lyrics of conversations had over coffees and in tea houses, or lamplights kept on bedstands, We are not derelicts. The direction of feeling is nuanced, like the cart before the horse. It doesn't matter the pull or push, just intensity of the stretching and clamor of the sounds. Yes, we merely knew it wasn't human nature to love, only what returns love. What returns love? What returns love?
You have such a natural poetic voice, man.
Thank you, I appreciate it. We're just having some fun.
Even like just talking, like, it's so poetic.
We're just practicing.
It's a rarity to have a voice that just sits with everybody. Like, you could probably read a bedtime story and feel like, wow.
We're just having
That's what I love, man.
Yeah, I should put you to sleep. No, I was kidding.
No.
It's a joke. I love you.
Here's what I wrote. I haven't been in love for a long time, so it's a little hard for me to write, but
there's no judgment, just express.
That's what I have. We merely knew it wasn't we merely knew it wasn't human nature to love, only what returns love. Past division, personified by growth, nature brought in a welcoming treasure. Treasure human, treasure sanction, treasure love for its return of human experience, human form, forming love for the sake of treasured human. We merely knew how the human envisions love, but not the love itself. So question, does the human nature evokes love out of love, for the love of the human, for the love of the nature, or for the love of it?
Okay, those last 5 lines, please run it back. I just need to hear it again.
Oh, we merely knew. Where is it? We merely knew how the human envisions love, but not the love itself. So question, does the human nature evokes love out of love? Does the human nature evokes love out of nature? Does the human nature evokes love out of love for the love of it?
That's dope. Evoke love out of nature, love out of the love of it. Okay, I'm thinking very hard. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
For popping out. This is 10 Talks. My name is 10, and this is Sayquan. Thank you so much. That's it. That's it. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure.